Hey guys, it's Car Wash here, bringing you another deck profile. Actually, it's a different variant of the same one I released a while back. A remastered of Ancient Gears, but this one actually won me locals last night, third place out of like 10 or 11 people. And hopefully y'all think it's better as well. I mean, I think it's almost perfect. It's a 42 card deck. But without any more further ado, let's gear up for this profile. We got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Secondary staple in this deck. When he's normal summon, he burns for 600. Whenever, oh yeah, and whenever, God, I keep saying whenever. Yeah, words. What do they do? What do they mean? He also acts as a polymerization to fuse with the field or your hand, so that's always good. Now we got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern. It's your main search card of the deck. It's really good for the engine that goes with this deck, and I'll go into that in just a minute. We got 2 Ancient Gear box that goes with Ancient Gear Wyvern. Add this to your hand, and whenever you add this to your hand, you get to add another Ancient Gear card or Earth Monster with 500 less attack or defense, which is good. Got 2 copies of Gigantes, which is pretty good. It's an Earth Monster, and lets you go into link summoning really easily. And whenever it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, destroys all spell and trap cards in the field. Now I got 1 copy of Ancient Gear Frame, another good search card. Got 1 Ancient Gear Gadget, really good effect. It's searchable off of Ancient Gear Wyvern like Frame is, and it's a pretty decent effect that he's got. And for the other non-Ancient Gear monster, we got Dr. Frankenderb. I found this card the other day. It's really out there, but it's good. If this card is normal or special summon, you can pay 500 life points to look at the top card of your deck, then place it either on the bottom of the deck or reveal it and add it to your hand, but skip your next draw phase. That's good if you need to get that extra draw power on your first turn. Now we're on to the boss monsters. We got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, big boss monster of the deck. Get you some of those big plays to get your stuff off the field. Got 2 Ancient Gear Golems and 1 Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound, big boss monsters of the deck. And moving on to the spells, we got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Fusion. Obvious, it wouldn't be an Ancient Gear deck without Ancient Gear Fusion. And same goes for this. 3 copies of Gear Town. Would not be Ancient Gear deck without Gear Town. Now we got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Catapult. When you control non-monsters, you can destroy 1 spell or face-up spell or trap card you control. Put it on your Gear Town, get you a double summon in 1 turn. Got 2 Terraforming to help you search your Gear Towns. We also got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Fortress. Anytime you normal or special summon an Ancient Gear monster, when this card is on the field, during the turn they're summoned, they're unaffected by your opponent's card effects. This also works really well with Ancient Gear Catapult if you don't have any monsters, but instead of your deck you do it from your hand or graveyard, which is good. Got 1 copy of Pot of Desires, 1 copy of Overload Fusion, 2 copies of Power Bond, in case you don't get a fusion or anything like that in your first hand, plus it doubles the attack of the monster you're fusing with, which is pretty darn good. 1 copy of Raigeki, 1 copy of Monster Reborn. We're only playing 3 traps in this deck. 2 copies of Divine Wrath, and 1 copy of Magical Hats to get your Gear Towns out on the field and get you another summon quickly. Alright, that is it for the main deck. Let's move on to the side deck. Ancient Gear token, obviously. For our links, we have 1 copy of Mrs. Radiant. All Earth monsters on the field gain 500 extra attack, and all Wind monsters go down. for the Fusions, we got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Howitzer. One of the best fusion cards I've ever seen for an archetype. Unaffected by card effects, and whenever it's destroyed, you get the special summon Ancient Gear from your deck and ignoring the summoning conditions. Now for the big boss Xyz monster fusions, we got 2 copies of Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. Has a really good floating effect whenever this face-up card leaves the field. You can special summon an Ancient Gear, Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, ignoring the summoning conditions. Speaking of which, 2 copies of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. 4400 beat stick, does piercing whenever he's destroyed and sent to the graveyard. You get a special summon Ancient Gear Golem from your hand or graveyard. Now for the big monster of the extra deck, 2 copies of a Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. One of the most overpowered cards I've ever had the pleasure of using. Unaffected by spells and traps, and during the battle phase, your opponent cannot activate monster effects. Now we move on to the Xyz monsters. We got 1 copy of Heavy Armor Train Iron Wolf. 1 copy of Gear Gigant X. 1 copy of Steel Swarm Roach. 1 copy of number 101 Silent Honor Arc. And finally, 1 copy of number 9 Dyson Sphere. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. This got me 3rd place at Locals last night. And be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. And you have a fantastic evening.